Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to look at oil and natural gas, do our daily technical analysis update for it. I've got light crude oil futures on the monitor over here. It's looking pretty juicy. I don't know which direction this is going to go. It sure looks to me like it wants to break to the upside. Again, please use this only as my financial opinion, not as advice. But let's jump in here. I'm very eager to talk about this. It looks really good. We've got two large, big buying pressure days. We've hit our head on this resistance line I've got drawn up here. I don't know which way this thing's going to break. We're at a decision point. I think we have a good possibility of this breaking to the upside. We've got a large buying pressure days, the 2 days here, and a small selling pressure right at resistance. I think it's got a good probability of continuing higher. Why do I think that? Well, we'll have to see over the next couple of trading days. It'll show us which way it's going to go. But if we put in a bullish engulfing pattern where it engulfs the ones before it, we're going to move on higher. If we break right to the upside tomorrow, that's also a possibility. What I'd like to see is a move lower in the morning and then a close far higher, which is a bullish engulfing, breaking out of this resistance area. We'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. That's going to tell us what's going to happen, or this week, I should say, because it could go sideways in a couple of small down days right below this resistance for a little while. But it looks really good. It does look good. Natural gas obviously having a little bit of a pullback. It's right at support. We'll see what happens there. XOP, which is the fund is right at this resistance line. We're trying to break up through it. We have a small down day, and that's good because it means that the sellers aren't coming in here and walking all over our face trying to sell this thing down. It makes me think that the buyers are looking for a move higher in oil and that this is ready to break to the upside for a potentially very large move as we've broken out of this big long-term downtrend line. So I am not selling a single thing here. I'm looking for a big move potentially at some point. We could go sideways here for a month or two. That's also a possibility. It could also just rip it to the upside. So I'm being patient here, but I'm not doing anything. I think that we've got a good setup for oil to run quite substantially for summer months. Looking at SM Energy, this is not a reverse move. We have a large wick at the top yesterday. It pulled on back, and it's not a reversal pattern. So we could come back and drift a little bit lower. It still looks good. Everything, this is a neutral setup here. I can say that, we could be coming into a little bit of a move like this where we pull back a little bit and then bounce like that. But I'm remaining open on it. I would say that the likelihood is a small downward movement before moving up, but I'm not doing anything to my shares. I'm just holding on. CDEV getting a little bit more of a sell-off today. Still, the setup looks really good. It's just chopping sideways. I'm not doing anything with my shares. It's sideways, I think, is probably likely. Crew Energy moving sideways. It's looking for a move in natural gas and oil. Natural gas was down today. It was down in Crew Energy, but oil was, kind of flattish to a little bit lower. This still looks good for a move higher, though. That's what I see. CPE, a little bit of a bounce off this guy here. A little bit of a lower day today. Kind of mimicking the rest of the group. Athabasca Oil just moving sideways. We are above this big ol' resistance line going across. This could have a very big move to the upside if it breaks through the 168 area. Could get a little sticky through here. We could go a little up like this and then break. But there's not much resistance between $1.70 and $6. So I think we're going to blow through this once we break through and close above 180s. It's a possibility. Doesn't mean we will. It's a possibility. Looking at recaf, we're still kind of moving up at a very slow speed. We have a lot of sellers that we're trying to get through here. Good buying pressure, smaller selling pressure. Hopefully we can get a big run going. Hopefully it can gather some steam. Northern Oil and Gas breaking out of the top of this guy. We're sitting right on top of it, resting. If we get a good move in oil, I think this thing's going to be off to the races. And I think that Northern Oil and Gas looks absolutely excellent for a big move to the upside. I think we get, I kind of see this as a higher cost producer. It's actually got a really cool business model. If you guys check out their website, they have land, they subcontract, I think, the land out and get money from it. Basically, that's the model that they run. And I think this could have a big move. It's a nice little pattern here. I should say nice big pattern here, not little. CPG, this guy's been rolling up, coming to a little bit of resistance. That's where we're at. With oil not kind of breaking out, it's probably going to move sideways. We're right hitting this resistance line a whole bunch of times. GTE's getting a little bit of a run on, still up 3.77%. It's broken out to the upside of this big old pattern. You know what I would do? I wouldn't do a dang thing. I'd hold on to it, and this thing could run quite dramatically. If I were to throw like a price projection, do like a trend-based Fibonacci, I'm going to throw like maybe this guy here, kind of come back to where it came back. I like the 1.618 level. This could easily be a $2 stock pretty quick. So again, I would just hold on to it. I wouldn't be doing much. Just let it make you money. Tellurian, it's this back and forth action we're getting. Could still have a little bit more downside, potentially based off the candlestick patterns. But I think we're getting close to a potential move. If we go a little bit lower, be an incredibly good buying point. That's what I think. Pedevco, you throw on the logarithmic, you go to the dailies. Pedevco, nice, good bullish engulfing pattern here today. Yeah, I think this is going to go higher. We're right at the tip of this pattern. I buy before the breakout, guys. I've been buying in here, so I'm loaded up, ready to go. Oasis Petroleum is sitting on top of its pattern. Everything looks good for a move higher. So yeah, just waiting for oil to get its butt in gear. Comstock, this one looks good to move on up. Let me zoom out here. Let me see if I can delete that out of there. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure. I think it's going to work its way higher eventually. Sandridge, we're right at the resistance line, support line. We're just playing with that. REI, this one broke out to the upside, had a little small down day today. We call it a bloody nose. This guy's ready to rip to the upside, I think, at any point here, any second. If anything, we could come back and do a retest, maybe. But right here, I like it. That's REI. Surge Energy, just chopping sideways. That's what we've got for Surge. That's a Surge Energy from a big long-term perspective, guys. Let me go back real quick. Sorry for basically skipping over Surge. This guy's ready to break this big pattern, this falling wedge, and then go somewhere fast. So I think that one looks good. Tamarac's already broken to the upside. I would just be holding on to it. Good volume. Everything looks really good for that. OIH, nice little update today, breaking to the upside of this pattern. Big move in energy service companies is probably in front of us. I would be a long-term holder. Right here is a good spot to be nabbing some. I've liked it since down here. All through here has been really good. I think it looks great. Tetra Technologies doing a little bit of a false breakdown here. It'll turn and move on up. Give it time. Transocean breaking to the upside, doing a little bit of a bloody nose. This is going to probably have a big move to the upside. I would not be a seller. I would be a holder. ProPetro, it could have a little bit of a downward move unless we break to the upside, which we could see an explosive move to the upside. We'll see which way this thing breaks, but this is a rising wedge. Usually they break to the downside, do a little rest before moving higher. Exterion Corporation, EXTN, this one looks good. Just hold on to it. This one has a long-term pattern break to the upside. Valaris Limited, VAL. Again, we've broken out of this to the upside. It will retest. I'd just hold on. Let it make you money. MMA Offshore, this is one I really, really like at the moment. This would be one that I would be cost averaging in quite heavily. We're getting this break to the downward trend. That's what it looks like on a logarithmic. This is logarithmic. This is non-logarithmic. We're down here in the cheapo land. But we're trying to break this to the upside here. This is on a monthly candlestick basis. The dailies, we've broken to the upside. We're putting in nice little patterns here. This one looks good. Good to go long and hold on. Tidewater looks good here. I would also be a buyer. I was a buyer in this section down here. I've been riding it higher. Big long-term perspective, guys. This thing is down in no man's ultra value land. Ultra value is Tidewater, and I think this is going to be a rocket ship to the upside eventually. Just hold on to it and let it make you money. Looking at the next one is NEX, Next Tier Oilfield Solutions. We are seeing a little bit of contraction in here. So you've got this, let me do this one. Move higher, move smaller, move higher, smaller, move higher. We are contracting, so we could see kind of maybe a little bit of a pullback before moving on up. Depends on what oil does, I think. Looking at CHX, this guy still looks good. It's chopping sideways, bigger buying pressure than selling pressure. That'll probably resolve itself to the upside. Big picture view, we're right underneath this big downtrend line. Higher lows coming up into it. That looks good for a break to the upside. WHD already broke to the upside. This is Cactus. Still looking quite strong. OII, Oceaneering International. We have a rising wedge here. This could break to the downside, depending on what oil does. It could also break to the upside because we're right at the support line. And if oil is doing quite well, I mean, it could break. So I wouldn't necessarily rule out a break to the upside either. Noble Energy just chopping sideways. Bigger buying pressure than selling pressure. Still looks good to move higher, in my opinion. And then HLX, which is Helix Energy Solutions. We're right at that resistance line of this channel moving on up. You can see it's wanting to try to break, but we're at resistance. So we'll see where that goes. Big long-term picture view on Helix Energy Solutions. This is a big monster pattern. Hopefully we can break to the upside of this downtrend line and show us how monstrous this thing really is. But that's what I've got for today. Oil and gas, if we see oil go, I think a lot of people think that oil is going to go down. They think we're going to have a pullback. They're shorting things. They're getting crazy, all right? I would not be shorting this. And there's a possibility where this thing breaks to the upside and all those shorts have to unwind themselves. You could see a big move higher. I'm not doing anything with my shares. I'm holding on. I've got my popcorn. I'm watching this because I'm not going to do anything. I think the big long-term trend, higher. The big long-term trend is higher. Short-term, I don't care. Doesn't matter what it does. If we go lower, if we pull back $10, so what on oil? If we go up $10, well, my account goes up. So I think the patterns look good. I think they all look very good for especially energy service companies. They're down in no man's land. If we are going to need more oil in the future, which I definitely think we are, I don't think there's any good viable alternative solutions for the next 10 or 20 years. I don't think that we're going to ramp up EVs as fast as we think we're going to ramp them up. So I think that the energy service companies are going to do quite well over the next 10 years. Definitely. But that's my opinion there. Take it for whatever you want. Thumb up for the content. And thank you for listening, guys. This is Finding Value.